Hello my friends, this is 𝗂𝗶𝘁𝗵 here again, and in today's video, this is going to be one of my favorites. We're going to cover the Borg Annihilator, the 𝗂𝗏. Hello my friends. Live long and prosper. Okay, we're going to jump straight into it. If you're watching this video, one of your first questions is probably going to be, how do you build this bad boy? Well, free to play, there's only a few options you can do to start picking up these blueprints. It's going to come through your cosmic cleanup when you get to, I believe you have to get to ops around 25. Once you build that shipyard, you can build the 𝗂𝗏, so you can start saving those ahead of time. If you already get your Franklin ready to go, if you're not really worried about anything else, I would start saving those up so that you can redeem them when your cosmic cleanup rolls around again and start getting these 𝗂𝗏. You can get 10 of them a week when it comes around, so it'll take 10 times. You redeem it that way to pick it up completely free to play. It also can show up, there's the end of the arc for the next generation happening right now, and you can pick up half the blueprints that way. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of ways that you can get it. It's not completely a premium ship, but of course, like most of the ships in the game, the fastest way to get it is to swipe that credit card and get it the easy way. At this point, you might be wondering, wow, like 10 weeks of the cosmic cleanup to be able to get this thing, and maybe have to wait for an event store, or I even have to pay real money to get this thing. Is it even worth it? Absolutely, this thing is totally worth it. It's a very well-rounded interceptor. It's not just there to smash Borg. Like, you get like the Stella that's only good for Eclipse stuff. You've got the Franklin that's only good for swarms. This is actually a pretty decent interceptor. It's somewhere between about the D3 class and the Saladin when it comes to power. But the refinery, if you go to your refinery option here, there's a Borg Tech tab down here, and this is where the true value is. Once you get this high enough, so you see here that all this scales with the 𝗂𝗏's tier, and then you can also get double refinery output from a prime, you can end up coming in here and getting your faction tokens through this if you were inclined to do so. I'm going to wait until I hit at least tier 7, maybe tier 8 before I start cashing in on this. But you can also get your Federation reputation, your Klingon and Romulan, so your faction reputation you can come in here and get as well. You can even get independent credits out of this. It's amazing what you can get here. This has all sorts of viability all throughout the rest of your gameplay. So the 𝗂𝗏 is definitely worth it, even if you don't use it way down the road. I mean, you're still going to use it to farm these probes, which we'll get into in a minute, but just for this piece right here, it is absolutely worth it. It will help you so much once you get down the road. While we're in the refinery, let's go ahead and talk about upgrading this bad boy. Bad news is it's an interceptor. It's going to suck away even more of that precious crystal, so it's very hard to build this and like a Horizon or your Saladin at the same time. So really what you're going to do, take things slow. I would not recommend getting that D3 class. I would recommend you work on your Horizon as soon as you get it until it starts taking your rare crystals, and then you can try to work on this 𝗂𝗏. The 𝗂𝗏 is super important, but it's also going to compete with the Saladin. So you're really going to have to plan a lot, and the refinery doesn't like anybody. So it's not like you're going to have a bunch of crystals laying around to work on this, but I guarantee you if you can go ahead and push everything you need to push into this 𝗂𝗏 early on, it's going to pay off in all this other refining that you can do later on. Now, it also takes these charged nanoprobes, unfortunately, beyond what a normal interceptor would take, and the bad news is those are gated. So you can either do a single chest every day that gives a set amount, or a double chest, but the double chest is going to cost way more than your single chest is. So a reliable way to do it is just go ahead and focus on your single chest every single day, and eventually you get what you need. But I have been trying to push this constantly. I am always out in the Borg space working on farming these inner nanoprobes, and then especially when it comes to your away teams, you're going to want to go ahead and source them that way as well. Very, very good to have as many of those as you get. The active nanoprobes are what you use to upgrade your Borg officers to promote them to a higher level. That's fantastic. They're very hard to come by, especially if you do not have your 𝗂𝗏 tiered up really high. So keep working on that 𝗂𝗏. It's a daily grind, but it's totally worth it in the end. And then once you get to the end, you can celebrate and go get all your faction research or reputation that you need so that you can lock out stuff and get your independent credits. You can get your faction credits to go ahead and get those blueprints for your faction miners or your enterprise at some point in time, whatever those ships are, the epic ships that you're after. This is going to help you do that once you get that far. Hey, if you liked the video, do me a quick favor, set that phaser on stun, target the like button, and fire! Okay, so we need the inner nanoprobes. Where do we get those from? So you'll see a lot of these strange symbols when you are first coming up in the game, and they are actually for your Transwarp cells. So all this space that requires Transwarp cells, those are going to be the ones that have your Borg tactical probes. Now, they're interesting, the Borg tactical probes. They have a very high strength. They're kind of like eclipse hostiles when it comes to this. They have very high strength, but with your Vidar, mine right now is 472,000. It's not a super powerful Vidar by any stretch of the imagination, but I can come out here with ease and hit these. I'm actually right now not in the 27 zone, but in a what is this, 28 zone. So let's just go ahead and hit this one here and see what happens real fast. I don't recommend just hitting anything that you see because you are using a token to get out here, so you want to maximize what you get out of it. So what I would do is set a threshold for that area. So this is a 28. I'm going to go look at it real quick. 531 I get from there. So usually I'll try to stick around the 550s. So this one here I would hit when I'm in the level 28 systems farming these. I'll try to aim for right in that 550 mark. But if you'll see, I took barely any damage when I fought this, and the power difference is extreme. 3 million to my less than 500,000 on this Vidar right now. So you can punch up super high with the Vidar when it comes to this. But it's very hard to do this without the Vidar. You can get the Transwarp cells to come out here whenever an event's running and bring some other ship if you don't have the Vidar, but it's really gonna hurt. These things will do a lot of damage to you if you're not a Vidar, because the Vidar is not super tanky, but it does a lot of damage, especially because its passive is its ship ability is going to give you an intense amount of damage. Right now at level 26, this thing still needs to level up. I can get over 30,000% increased damage to Borg hostiles, coupled with the fact that I've got 7 of 10 here. He's going to give me resistance as futile. So when fighting a Borg tactical probe, 7 of 10 has a 90% chance, because we have full synergy. If you look to the left and right, we've got 8 and 9 of 10 on there as well, of increasing the number of shots of each weapon by 2. So he is going to pretty much make it to where you shred this thing in 1 to 2 rounds right off the bat. This is why the Vidar is pretty awesome. So come out here. This is how you get your probes. It's going to take a while to grind out all these probes that you need to get on a daily basis, but I definitely would recommend that you go in here and you look for a certain threshold. See here, 573. That's pretty high for the system that we're in. Keep doing that. Watch your hull. You definitely don't want to go too far over protected cargo and then get blown up and lose all that. While we are talking about the Borg tactical probes, I will tell you that these are all battleships. There is a rare enemy that spawns out here called a Assimilated Ferengi trader. Those things are awesome for a couple of reasons. A, they're surveys that you'll see going through here. That's how you'll notice them. They've got a longer name. They've got a little diamond at the end because they're a rare. The Latinum antique will drop from them. Now keep in mind that this isn't like a loot chest whenever you kill these things. This will be in your inventory. If you get one after you've already crossed your protected cargo limit and then you get blown up, you lose that token. Or if somebody else comes out here and murks you, you lose that token. So you want to make sure if you get those, you're going to keep them, because that's also used in your refinery on a 5-day cooldown, because you can get some fantastic stuff from that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so we've said you have to use Transwarp tokens to get out to this space. Where do you get those from? So once you have the Vidar, every single day you'll have the option in your gifts section. You'll have this extra 2 Transwarp cells that you get, and this is also on a 22-hour cooldown. So you can only hold up to 8 of these at a time. So you can sit there and either batch them up for 4 days, which I really don't recommend, and then go out and do all of them at once. But there are certain events that come out when there is a event that requires killing these tactical probes for points. Then very often 𝘂𝗶𝘁 will give you 2 to 4 of them. So I would try to make sure that you are staying right around half. So once you get 4, just go ahead and burn out quite a bit of those. You'll get 2 more the next day. That's what I end up trying to do, because then if I have 4 and then 𝘂𝗶𝘁 gives me 4 more, then I'm maxed out. If you see there, max capacity is 8. That's kind of scary, because if you try to claim it after you already have the max capacity, what it'll do instead is tell you that you've hit your max capacity, and it'll give you like a laughably terrible amount of the inner nano probes. It is totally a waste. Like, it is such a waste. You could just go out there real quick to one of the higher zones and kill one of the enemies out there basically, and just come straight back and waste the token that way, and still get more out of it than if you have the capacity for your tokens and try to reclaim them again. It's so bad. Don't ever do that, because it will still burn your 22-hour cooldown. You have to wait until the next day to get more tokens. It's awful. Okay, so we banked one of those antique Latinum tokens. We've done a refinery. What do we end up doing with the goodies that we get from there? So if we look here, I believe I have a couple of the things that you get from them. you'll end up getting some of these rare Latinum cells pretty frequently. You'll sometimes get some more Transwarp cells and some ship XP and stuff. But what you really want out of this is these lucrative 3-star Transwarp cells. These things are pretty cool. So what you can do, we'll show you where you can use these two because they're a little different than the other ones. There is a system over here near your early level 25 Borg zones. This one right here is yours that you'll use the uncommon Latinum Transwarp cell for. So if you look in here, the system is Latinum. You can send your Devore out here, or really it's a pretty good idea to send a non-Devore out here because these are all your double Latinum nodes. If you look here, they're all shiny. They will go twice as fast as other stuff, so it's kind of cool to take something that's not a Devore out here. If you want to sit it on a node, wait until Lat Rush rolls back around the next Monday, and then pull it off as soon as that triggers, and maybe you can score you some points that way. Or if you want to come out here, you can kill a bunch of these hostiles and they drop some Latinum, but it's totally a waste. I would send a Devore out here if I was going to do any of that. They're kind of trashy tokens to me because I can go and just hit a standard non-double node and earn a bunch of points that way, but you can still send it out here if you wanted to. The big draw from this is not those tokens, but these 3-star lucrative mining tokens. So what you've got out here are your 3-star gas, 3-star ore, and 3-star crystal, of course. If you look at these nodes, these are some pretty massive nodes, and they mine at a ridiculous speed. So what a lot of people will do is take those tokens and then burn them on a Sunday and go sit out here on a super big node, and as soon as your Latinum Rush comes up, they will bank those points real quick. That's a really good way to do that. You have to burn a token to get out here. If you're warring with somebody, they might not like you when you're out here. They don't want you to get those points. They might blow you up. So it is lucrative. You need to make sure that you are hedging your bets and being very safe when you use those tokens. And keep in mind that you can only get one every 5 days if you're lucky and you get one out of the refinery whenever you use that antique Latinum token. It is very difficult to get these, but this is where you use them. This is one of the other reasons that it's pretty great to have the 𝗲. You get out there, you get some of these antique Latinum tokens, and you've got really cool places to go fill up your surveys, hopefully. That's pretty much the gist of the 𝗲. That's about everything that I can really toss out there for you in a nutshell, aside from the fact that it is a very fast ship. So it's pretty cool to toss your pan speed crew that we talk about a lot here, the Berserker augment crew that you get from the Awoken chest, all those rares. It's pretty cool because this ship is already really fast. You toss that on there, it's even faster. And one of the last things I would mention is it has, for a warship, a huge capacity, even a lot of protected. So if I go look at mine right now where I'm at, my protected cargo is 19,000 with a total cargo capacity of 120,000. That's great for coming out here and filling up on probes, but when you're not doing that, it's also really great to go take around, especially in other people's territories. This is a great hunter to go hit overprotected cargo surveys. Super well-rounded, very worth it. If you see it in the store, I would just go ahead and get it if you have a way to do that. If not, definitely prioritize this ship. You're really going to get a lot of use out of it. It's a very powerful ship, well, not because of the raw power that it has out, but because of what you can get out of that refinery and being able to get those rare and lucrative tokens that you can get into those 3-star systems. It's pretty great, especially when you can get it early on. It fits in right between Salad and a D3 class. Basically, it's a pretty solid interceptor that you're going to use for quite a while. Great, pick it up. If you get a chance to do it, I definitely would. I would say that I use the 7 of 10 captain, 8 of 10, 9 of 10 for your go-to crew on it. You can use like a Pike and Moreau and Chin, depending on where you go. There's all sorts of crews you can use. I am not going to go ahead and spend a lot of time on the crews here. What I'll do instead is down in the description, I will link the officer tool. It has all sorts of stuff in there to tell you what the best thing is, not just for Borg probes, but for pretty much anything you need to. If you care about your growth in this game and maximizing your crews, then definitely link up with that officer tool. It's pretty powerful. So thanks for watching. This one might have run a little long, but I'm fanning out on this ship. I love it so much. Glad to share it with you guys. Live long and prosper. We will catch you next time.